Okay, everybody, this is Corey Miller from Raw Hip Hop Heads. We got a special guest for you today. He goes by the name of Steve Lobel. He's managed some of the best acts in the entertainment industry and the hip hop industry. Steve, if you could go ahead and give him a little bit of a rundown about where you're from and some of your roots and how you got into the industry.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak out and do this interview. God is great, and we working. Basically, I started in the music industry with Jam Master Jay from Run DMC. I'm from Queens, New York. You know, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I like to stay consistent. So anybody who Googles me or listens to any interview I do, I always stay consistent. And like I said, I come in the game through Jam Master Jay and Run DMC. From there, I started working at Sony Music as an A&R. I worked with Fat Joe, 3 6 Mafia, 8 Ball and MJG. MOP, the Beatnuts, Common Sense, who's Common, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Eazy-E, and the list goes on. And I was an A&R. And then from there, I became a manager. I managed Bone Thugs and Harmony. Still, 20 years later, discovered Nipsey Hussle with my partner Big U. Managed Sean Kingston for numerous amount of years. Managed Ayers for numerous amount of years, Man for numerous amount of years, worked with Soulja Boy, YG, Mustard, Ty Dolla. I have a new 11-year-old DJ, Kiss. He's a rapper and DJ, and so on and so forth. So I worked with a lot of people in different capacities, not just management.
Okay, that's cool. That's real cool. You know, I was going to ask you, when you met Jam Master Jay and them, how did you first get with them, you know?
Yeah, I met him from the neighborhood.
Okay.
From Jam Master Jay's brother and a friend of mine named Kenny from the neighborhood. And we probably young, met everybody. And then from there, the rest is history.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I was going to ask you, you're one of the biggest managers in the whole, hip-hop industry. I was going to ask you, when you actually decide to manage somebody, what do you look for in an artist before you take that artist on, you know?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest manager in the hip-hop industry, probably no more. I used to, manage a lot. And managing is a full-time babysitting job. It's a full-time job, 25/8. And at the end of the day, you're doing everything literally from A to Z for artists. And, it could be from trying to get them gigs to dealing with, court cases or dealing with, trying to set up a video or trying to do a feature collaboration with another artist. So it's a full-time gig. As I got older and, I had some personal things, I faded away from really managing a lot of people, and I do more consulting now. So okay? What was the question? What were you saying?
Oh, no, just the question was, what do you look for in the artist? Like, what makes you say, you know what, this artist right here, I'm going to take him on versus this artist right here, I'm not going to work with this artist. Like, how do you decide who you're going to work with and who you're not going to work with?
I really started, honestly, walking away from management, like I said, in the last few years because, you find artists that are young and you start working with them maybe 16, 17, and it's either, you got to develop something and you got to put the time and energy and the money into it to get it going before you can even get it going majorly or going to a record company or getting, major things going on for an artist. So there's a lot of grind work and hard work that goes into it. But these days, it's like a lot of these younger artists, man, they got big egos, really cocky. Yeah. And, I got turned off, so I don't really work with a lot of artists no more that are new trying to break them. But what I do look in them is work ethic, number one, because, you could have the most talent, but you don't want to work. And I work hard. And if you don't want to work as hard as me and you really say you want it and you're a new artist and I'm trying to find new artists to manage or work with, then why would I want to work with you? It don't matter how much talent you have. You got to be able to want to work and have a work ethic. Second thing is to be humble, not to be cocky, to appreciate people and things. And obviously then the talent. And, you could just tell, I could just tell, or you could just tell when I shouldn't say you could tell, like I could tell, I guess, but, people think that everybody's a star or the next biggest thing, but they're really not because they might not know the business side of it and what it takes. But, perfect example, I'm working with D-Kiss 11 years old now. I found him when he was 8 years old. We put in about 3 years together. And he raps, he DJs, he acts. And I'm, structuring a bigger team around him and putting stuff together with him. And at the end of the day, he's 11 and he wants it and he's passionate and he works for it and he understands it and he's willing to learn and he's willing to listen. And a lot of artists don't learn, they don't want to listen, they want to think they know it all. So I said, to find artists I want to work with, or even people that are really in the music industry who know the business, they're looking for all those type of scenarios as well, not just talent.
That's true. I'm a hip-hop artist myself, and just me working with a lot of different crews in Atlanta and L.A. and different stuff like that. I don't know if this is your experience or if this is what you're talking about, but it seems like a lot of people want to play the role of the star, but they don't actually want to put in the work. They want to dress the flyest. They want to have the nicest girls, or, they want to call them bitches or whatever. They want to have the champagne popping, but like you said, nobody wants to put in the work. So, I mean, that's definitely something that I want a lot of my listeners to hear. If you really want success like that, you can't just look the part. You have to actually put in the work, too.
Right.
So.
Well, look, I call those people clowns. The problem is, look, we're all on social media, and social media was a gift and a curse. And you have people now who get on Instagram or social media, and they just think that they're famous and that they're the shit and the shit don't stink, and cocky as hell because they might have 100,000 followers. Those numbers could be manipulated. But if you're an independent artist and you have 100,000 followers and you put out a single and you can't even sell 100, then something doesn't balance out. Then you have girls, not knocking no beautiful girls, but, you got girls that have 1 million followers and they're doing, appearances in clubs. But what's your stripes and what's your resume? You just look good, got tattoos, and you got a big ass. So, you really, everybody's trying to dress and look the part because of social media, especially Instagram. But 9 out of 10 times, they're not living the part. And going to pop bottles in a club, all you're doing is impressing some people who really don't give a fuck, or impressing some girls. At the end of the day, it's not getting you nowhere as an artist. Like, I had a conversation with someone last week, when an artist blows up and they got hits, the club calls you and they pay for all the bottles. They pay for everything. You don't got to spend your own money. So the people out there spending their own money trying to impress people and popping bottles, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. And that's just my opinion. But teach his own. Only God could judge.
Wow, that's real. That's real. I was going to talk to you about Big U and Nipsey Hussle, too. It seemed like, man, out of the West Coast, I would say about 7 years ago, there was kind of like a dry spell. Like, we had the Game, but we didn't have the Kendricks. We didn't have the YGs. We didn't even have Nipsey Hussle like 8, 9, 10 years ago, So you, which you being such a big part of hip-hop, you actually, I don't know if you take any credit for this, but you actually helped resurrect the West Coast scene by signing Nipsey Hussle, because then it drew a lot of attention to the West Coast. I was going to ask you, though, how did you go about getting with Nipsey Hussle, and what made you really want to take this guy seriously and just, not look him over, but really, really take him to that next level?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to be cocky. I'm just going to be confident because I'm not a cocky person. That's true. That's facts. Like, no one was looking at the West Coast before Game. And I love Game. I respect Game. That's my man. And he had the West Coast going. And if you're a West Coast artist and you can get the people in New York to love you and love your music, you win. And Game did that. And at the end of the day, Game opened the doors to the West Coast, but then it stopped for a while. I mean, it's the same thing, man. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. And I believed in Nipsey when I met him, and I just felt like, you know what? This is going to work. And everybody in New York, the East Coast, was loving him. And I was like, bingo. And, he was himself. And he made dope records with lyrics and catchy melody hooks. He's a real person from where he's from. He's not an actor and fronting and faking like a lot of these guys. And, a lot of people told me, oh, he looks like Snoop. Oh, he's a Rolling 60 Crip. It's not going to work. But, I believed in him. I believed in Big U. And I went over and beyond to try to get it going and went to all the labels, and they all said no until the one said yes. And, like I said, a lot of people don't believe in it until after all the work is done, and they jump on the bandwagon. But I just felt like, it was militant, it was a movement, it was the streets, it was talent, and I loved it. And I put all behind it, and it opened the door for the YGs and the Tigers and the Kendricks and everybody else that you want to name. Kendrick was on tour with me and Nipsey. We were on the Game tour, and he was J-Rock's hype man as K-Dot. And now Kendrick's one of the biggest artists in the world. So, you got to start somewhere. Believe it or not, like I said, K-Dot was a hype man. Nipsey's been in the game now for years. He's doing his thing. We don't work with him no more. But he's self-sufficient and does everything himself. But at the end of the day, we still talk. He's still my friend and my little man. And I love seeing people win. What I like to do is open the doors, make it happen, push, make it go, and just let everybody fly. And then, just get mine,
That's true. Now, when you first got with Nipsey Hussle, were you actually thinking, like, you know what, man, there's not a whole lot coming out of the West Coast right now. How can I change that? Like was it a conscious thing?
That was my mentality. There was nothing going on the West Coast. It was real West Coast. And I'm like, yo, this could bring back and start a whole nother wave, and that's what it did.
That's real. I saw a picture online with you, I believe Biggie Smalls was in the picture, and Bone Thugs. I believe Biggie was in that picture. Was Biggie in that picture?
Yeah, it was me, Bone, Biggie, Little C's, Puffy, Stevie J, who did the beat. Not, it's the same Stevie J from Love and Hip Hop, but Stevie J was a monster, major producer. Yeah, so you saw that. I put that collaboration together. I was part of putting that collaboration together, as long as Riding Dirty with Chameleonaire and Crazy Bone. As long I also was part of Mariah and Bone. So I've been working with Bone for 20 years. But Bone and Biggie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Now the thing with Bone and Biggie, how did that even come together? Like who put that together, and how did that even? Because that's one of the most iconic songs in hip hop. So how did that even?
Yeah,
come
you
together?
know what? And that's why I talk like Bone. They sold more records than a lot of these rappers, and they don't get the credit. Yeah. And they've created a unique style. They've collaborated with Pac, Biggie, Easy, Big Pun, Mariah, Phil Collins, and Bone just don't get the proper credit, which is fucked up. But the way it happened was, a lot of people are fans of Bone, so they want to do records with him. Biggie wanted to do a song with Bone. And Fat Joe had called me, a dear friend of mine. I worked with Joe.
Sure.
And he said that, Puff was going to call me, and Puff called me, and he said, we're at the record plant, studio in L.A., and he said, Big's here. Then you get Bone. So I tried to round them all up, got everybody come out of the studio, and they knocked out their verse in about an hour or two. And then, we never heard Biggie's verse because he didn't do it, and then he passed. And when the song came out, I ran to Puffy, and Puffy told me that, Big took like a month to study that verse to try to get that flow down. Killed it.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, I was going to ask you something else about Biggie. I don't know if you would know this, but did Biggie write his stuff, or was it really off the top of his head?
Man, I wasn't there. Like I said, he didn't record it in front of us. We all had left, and then never heard about anything again. He died,
That's real. So
I
was going to ask you, too, now with being a manager, I know you talk about different aspects, but what is one of the most enjoyable part of being a manager to you,
Like I said, I've done every aspect of this music industry. That's why one of my companies called A to Z Entertainment, because I've done everything from A to Z. I'm just basically, seeing the world, being part of a lot of different things that most people that can't have the opportunity to, you get to do, and that's why I remain humble and don't forget where I come from. And, you meet different people, and you help people.
That's real. Now, it seems like over the years, a lot of managers have came and have went, and it doesn't seem like any of them. It seems like a few of them have had longevity, but it doesn't seem like a whole lot of them have. But it seems like you're one of the ones who have. So, what kept you so long in the game without falling off? Because like you said, you might not be the most right now or the biggest manager, but I still regard you as pretty high. I know a lot of people do still regard you as pretty high. So what kept you in the game so long?
Well, I remain humble, and I got good karma, and at the end of the day, like I said, I have the opportunity to manage a lot of people right now. I choose not to. I consult. I'd rather consult and just do the things that I want to do. But it's hard to stay relevant. It's hard to stay in this game. A lot of people fall off in every aspect of this industry. It's hard to stay on. I just try to stay relevant, man, and stay around young people and go with the times, but don't follow. Still be a leader and do different things to keep myself relevant. Now I'm doing a talk show called Live with Steve Lobel. I've interviewed everybody from J. Cole to Logic to Mustard. I don't know if you caught any of that. I do a lot of motivational speaking. I stay heavy on social media. And I got a radio show at Dash with Ski. So I just try to stay relevant and stay current, not necessarily managing everybody, just being in the right places and just, giving knowledge and consulting and keeping opportunities. But you're definitely right. A lot of people can't take this business and they fall off, or they walk away from it, or they get frustrated, or they just say, fuck it,
Yeah, that's real. I did catch your interviews. I saw one with J. Cole. I saw another one with MGK. I was going to ask you what made, because I know why I do interviews. I do it to spread knowledge and to put people relevant. They said that they want to know about hip hop. Well, I'm trying to teach them, But your thing, why did you start doing interviews?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I don't want to sound repetitive again, but I'm a leader. I'm not a follower. I believe in shit.
Okay.
And then people jump on after. It's been proven numerous amount of times that people like, nah, and then it goes, and everybody wants to jump on the dick. And Nipsey's a proven fact, and so on and so forth. So, I was the first on a reality show, Missy Elliott Road to Stardom, with Mona Scott, who's a, executive producer now of Love and Hip Hop. We've been doing this, and we've been innovative and we've been creative, but, we were ahead of our time. And I always stay ahead of my time. And a lot of people get intimidated by me, or, they're scared of me because I'll tell you the truth and I'll make you look bad. And, we're innovative. So I did, Missy Elliott reality show. Then I did another reality show called Manager Celebrity. And then I did another one called Millionaire Matchmaker, where I was able to bring hip-hop to it. So I do a lot of different things before people do what they do, and then they think, Love and Hip Hop is the biggest reality show of housewives. No, it's not. And we've been doing this. So, I have personality. And unfortunately, or fortunately, personality trumps out talent these days, which you can go take someone who's cleaning garbage cans, put them on TV in a reality show, and they have the biggest personality, bigger than someone who sold 20 million records, and they can make more money than that person who sold 20 million records because of their personality. So I have a lot of personality. I'm very straight up, and I have a lot of knowledge. And someone approached me, and they were like, hey, you want to do a talk show and you interview artists, you got a lot of connections, Rolodex, I doubt no one will say no to you. And I said, yeah, I'll try it. But when I do something, I always have an end game. And my end game is to be the Jimmy Kimmel of rap or the Barbara Walters of rap. So I started to interview people, and it's starting to go great because no one said no to me. And I've got about 25 interviews in. We drop them weekly. Like I said, I have everybody from Logic to MGK to J. Cole to Busy Bone to Mustard, and I keep going and doing stuff. And my interviews, the reason why I do it is because I feel like I could teach and educate and give knowledge to these young kids who are watching the interviews. And remember, I'm not, Wiz Khalifa with 5 million followers, so my views are not up there yet. I'm growing it organically like a mixtape, and I'd rather do it that way. And in the long run, I'll have longevity. And my interviews are to educate people. I'm not asking who you fucking beefing with. I'm not asking who you sleeping with, all that other dumb shit that everybody does. I'm asking real questions and then leaving opportunities open for someone to go Google to find out who a Fredro Starr is from Onyx, because I interviewed him. It's about to come out. Or DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia, because these young kids who are on the blogs, they only know what's going on at the moment. They don't learn the history. So I'm leaving it open, and they say, who is this guy, Fredro from Onyx? And they Google him and start doing research and know that he's done so many movies, so millions of records, has done so much in hip-hop. So that's why I did it, to start, putting old school artists on the shows and opening doors and putting people like myself on the show to teach these young kids about the hip-hop industry. So it was to give back and knowledge, and that's why I started doing it. And like I said, it's been great.
That's real. Out of all the artists that you have interviewed so far, which one would you say is your favorite, and why would you say that one is your favorite?
Man, I don't even know. I would say J. Cole because it was my first interview and no one can get a sit-down with him like I did. I was a little nervous. If you watch the interview, I watched the comments. A lot of people don't know who I was interviewing them. They're fans of J. Cole, and that's a way to keep me relevant so these new kids can know who I am. A lot of kids are like, who's this Bruce Willis guy? Who's this Van Diesel guy? And those are the people who don't do the homework and who know who hip-hop is or what hip-hop's about to know who I am. But hopefully they'll take the time out to Google me and then say, okay, I know who this guy is now, instead of just dissing me and saying, he looks like Van Diesel. And I was a little nervous. It was my first one, and I had the BlackBerry at the time. I'm looking at the BlackBerry for the questions instead of having it behind. So comments were like crazy. But J. Cole was the first, and we did a great interview. And no one just does interviews on him and sit down with them. All my interviews, if you notice, there's no loud music and just buffoonery going on and standing on a red carpet with a camera holding the plate. We're sitting down having a real one-on-one conversation. I filmed people for about an hour, but I only dropped about 10 minutes of it. And I would say Cole, only reason because, he blew the fuck up right up after and his album went platinum. But, my Busy Bone one was great because I worked with him for 20 years, so I asked him different questions. I'm going to interview all the Bone. I don't know. I'm trying to sit down with Fat Joe when he comes to L.A. next week. I want to do different interviews with people I know and get stories out of them. But I think all of them are great because they're all teaching everybody different things,
That's real. One of the things I was going to ask you is what is the difference between managing back in the 90s and then managing now? Like the marketing strategies or are the labels doing as much or or just managers in general? How has your guys' job changed from in the 90s to 2015?
Well, from back then, just the music industry itself, we had to really go out and promote, market, and spend money. And really, really grind and work. And now, in 2015, the industry is, not making as much money. No one's selling as much records. The profit's not the margin it used to be. The labels are not spending millions and millions of dollars like they used to be. There's not a lot of different things that we did in the past, say advertising in magazines or, putting videos on a video music box or getting in a van and doing promo runs and going to independent retail stores and going to radio stations and go to college radio and mix shows and barbershops and, parks and schools and malls and give out product. These days it's more of pressing a button or just, going to do shows,
Yeah, so I was wondering, are a lot of the artists that are popular right now, are they kind of manufactured? Meaning, when I say manufactured, I'm saying a lot of their views, a lot of their following, is it kind of manipulated through the computers or through the internet? Is it kind of manipulated?
Back in the days, there wasn't so many artists out there because there was no internet to understand who they were. So the only way you could find out who an artist was, first of all, if an artist got signed to a label, because then the label's going to put you on TV and put you on, VH1, MTV, and put you on the radio. So you'll know. It wasn't I'm going to go on YouTube and check them out. I'm going to go on blogs and check them out. So you only knew those artists if they were signed to a label, and it was just basically in the United States. So it was totally different. Now it's more there's so many artists now. You can find them from all over the world by searching on the internet. So it's a gift and a curse because there's so much out there. Everybody thinks they're an artist. Everybody thinks they're a rapper, producer. And, if you watch the Grammys, a lot of artists that perform are not even from the United States, but they're signed to United States record labels, and they're playing on United States records, radio stations,
True. That's real. With you seeing, and I only have a few questions left, 2 more questions left. I don't want to take all your time. But one of the things I did want to ask you is, in the 90s, or even in the 80s, it seemed like hip-hop was really real, was really about talent, was really about substance, but now it just seems like the current state of hip-hop is bullshit. I just wanted to, but that's my personal opinion. I'm trying to get your opinion. How do you feel by being in the 90s and seeing all the, the Bone Thugs, the Biggie, the Tupac, to now? I'm not going to name the current artists because I don't want to shit on nobody, but I'm just saying, how do you feel about the current state of hip-hop, how it was and how it is now?
I respect everybody's opinions. I'm from the 80s, so to speak, hip-hop. And, when it was birthed. And I loved it from, the Run DMC's, how I started, to, the Public Enemies, to the KRS-Ones, to EPMD and NWA and so on and so forth. And then the 90s hip-hop, the Wu-Tangs, the Bone Thugs is, and now, I would say that 9 out of 10 of the artists these days are followers. Everybody's a gangbanger, but they're really not a gangbanger. I can't understand half this music and respect this music, but these young kids be loving it, and I'm like, are you serious? Wow. But teach his own, because, I can't listen to a lot of it. I can listen to J. Cole. I could listen to Meek Mill, and probably that's it.
Wow, that's great. You know, I was going to ask you, why does it seem like labels a lot of times now they're kind of signing the same shit and they're not really signing anybody original? Is there a reason for that?
I feel most of these people at these labels are dinosaurs, and I said I was a dinosaur, but I'm fossil fuel because I be around young shit and I listen, I learn, and I try to stay relevant. A lot of people just, collecting a check, keeping their job, trying to bring in someone who's affiliated with someone who's hot at the moment so they can keep their job to make them look good. Because a lot of these people at these labels can't go out and be innovative or go make some shit on their own happen or go get a job. Because like Damon Dash says, a lot of people are culture vultures. I agree with him. There's a lot of these guys at these companies that are spending someone else's money or the artist's money, and it's not their money. Whenever I do something, I'm spending my own money. I'm lending my own money. I'm giving my own money to make the shit happen. I'm on my own doing it to make it happen. So, I feel like these labels are all going to fall apart because of these fucking dinosaurs who don't want to stay innovative or learn how to be innovative, and they're just following whatever and signing stuff just to make some money and don't really give a fuck about someone's answering their games and the guy's fucking jacked and he's all fucked up. And would anybody really assign him? Probably not. I'm not saying he's not talented or not, but, teach his own. I think Rock Nation will probably be the biggest record company in the next 5 years.
Wow. And why do you say that?
Because they think relevant, they're leaders, they're innovative, they're creative, and Jay-Z, everybody's on Jay-Z's dick, and everybody want to be down with that,
Yeah, that's real. My other question was just A to Z Entertainment. A to Z Entertainment. I wanted to shed a little bit more light on that. Now, what is that? Is that a record label, or what is it that you guys pretty much do? And like, what is A to Z Entertainment?
A to Z Entertainment is everything from A to Z.
Okay.
And it used to be a production company, and still is, and a management company.
Okay.
And I know every aspect of this game. Like I said, from carrying bags to marketing to branding to promotion to radio to legal to studio to promoters to touring to everything else. So that's what A to Z is. Wow,
that's what's up. Now, do you have any new projects that you want to shout out or anything like that right now?
Nah, honestly, man, I'm focusing on my Live with Steve Lobel talk show.
Okay.
I'm focusing on my Live with Steve Lobel radio show. I'm writing a book, The Coach Lasts Longer Than the Player. And I'm really, really, truly focusing on this 11-year-old DJ/rapper actor I have named DJ Kiss. And I'm real passionate about it. And I feel like the lane is wide open. There's no Bow Wow. There's no Romeo. There's no young artists out there for these young kids. And we've been building a great brand. And sky's the limit,
That's real. Now, did you want to shout out the name of the channel so they can go check it out again?
It's Live with Steve Lobel on blurredculture.com. And
cool.
You guys everything on YouTube,
That's what's up. You guys go check that out. I send a lot of interviews, and this man Steve right here, he's dropping some dope shit and a lot of knowledge in those interviews. So go check that out.
That's what I want to do right now is give back knowledge and teach these kids the game, because everybody just wants to be famous, but they don't know the business side of it, and they don't know about having a team and structure and about the real side of the business. And I have a consulting company which keeps me real busy, and I consult a lot of people. So it's, Steve Lobel Consulting.
That's what's up. Well, I just want to thank you, Steve, for your time, and thank you for everything, man, and I appreciate having me.
What's the name of the site again?
Mine is Raw Hip Hop Heads. We're on Facebook.
Raw Hip Hop Head?
Heads with the Z at the end.
Heads, okay. Yo, what up? This is Steve Lobel, and you're checking out Raw Hip Hop Heads. This is Steve Lobel. You're checking out Raw Hip Hop